In September 2019, Antwerp commemorated its liberation from Nazi Germany. I arrived too late for the parade of military vehicles that drove through the city the way they did 75 years ago, so I went straight to the riverside, where they would be on display for the rest of the weekend. Antwerp was liberated by the Allied forces on the 4th of September 1944. The countries that took the forefront in the liberation of Belgium were the USA, Canada and the UK. They had the support of troops from Belgium, France, the Netherlands, Poland and Norway. When the Allied soldiers arrived in Antwerp, the population went berserk. Tanks were covered with flowers and soldiers were showered with hugs and kisses. After 4 years of hostile occupation, the people of Antwerp were free again. Nothing but laughs and cheers that day. But as it turned out, they were celebrating too soon. The liberation of Antwerp did not mark the end of the war. In order to make their way to Berlin, the Allied forces had to ship lots of soldiers and materials to Antwerp. The German military command realized that in order to prevent this, they should either recapture the harbour of Antwerp or destroy it altogether. That's when the Germans started using 2 new flying bombs, the V1 and the V2. These were missiles that could be launched from a great distance. However, they were not quite as accurate as the missiles we have today. Hence, they made many civilian casualties. 4,000 people would die in these attacks, while another 7,000 got injured. On the 16th of December 1944, a V2 hit Cinema Rex in the city centre during the showing of The Plainsman, an American Western about Buffalo Bill. At that moment, there were an estimated 1,000 people present in the movie theatre. The explosion killed 567 people, among whom were 296 Allied soldiers, mainly British. Not only the cinema, but a total of 11 buildings were destroyed by this one impact. My father, at the time a 13-year-old Boy Scout, helped with his group to pull the dead and the injured from underneath the rubble. This was not without danger, as parts of the building collapsed during the rescue operations. Too dangerous for a boy of 13, my grandparents must have thought. Thus they sent my father to a foster family in the countryside, where he could go to school, but also helped out on their farm. My father kept in touch with his foster family, and some of the remaining family members attended his funeral in 2013. A lot of people fled to safer places during these air raids on Antwerp. My maternal grandfather moved his entire family to St. Nicholas, a city on the other side of the river, which was far enough from Antwerp to offer a safe haven to his wife and 4 children. 75 years is a long time, and most of the people who lived through the tragedy of World War II are no longer with us. Current generations must rely on history books and the stories that have been passed on from generation to generation for information about this dreadful period in history. For people like me, who weren't even born back then, it is quite shocking to know that our grandparents and great-grandparents survived 2 world wars. I consider myself so lucky to belong to a generation that, until now, has been spared from military conflicts in Europe. And I can't help but wonder how long this peace is still going to last. Will future generations be as lucky as we were? I hope you enjoyed watching this episode of Home Base Belgium. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. My name is Paul. See you again next time.